I'm Nick Ronald, and I am excited to be interviewing Kash Sheibani today. Kash is the director of Web Wize Marketing Agency. He helps service-based businesses generate consistent leads through strategic content and paid campaigns. He's worked with clients ranging from dental and chiropractic clinics to professional service firms. Welcome, Kash.
Hi, Nick. Thanks for having me.
So it's great to have you here today. And I just want to start off by asking for those who don't know you, if you could just share a bit about your background and what inspired you to get into strategic marketing.
I see. So, yeah, back in a time when I was at uni, we used to throw events, and obviously, we needed to find a way to promote our events, like finding a way to sell tickets. And somehow, organically, I find about like online marketing, and I find about Facebook AdWords, and I start to get some tutorial on YouTube. And then I started to run adverts on Facebook and Instagram. And then I was like, wow, this stuff is so powerful. And that was how I got myself to online marketing. And then later on, about 2 years ago, actually, I started my own agency.
And what gap did you see in the way most businesses have been handling the marketing that made you think, right, I want to start helping them? What was the gap you spotted?
Understand. Well, I assume it's quite different from business to business. And so it really depends if the business is performing as a business to business or a business to client. It depends on the niche it's activated. So I would, I would say like it takes research and perhaps doing a survey and then understanding the gap and the pain point of the business, which probably most likely different from the other business. Yeah.
So you mentioned research. Do you think that research stage is a stage that a lot of businesses don't do well enough, or they don't approach it the right way, they don't do it in depth enough? So I guess that's an important step.
I see. Um, Perhaps they do research and but I guess it goes back to the data analysis and how like trustable are your data and how you can read those data into your marketing research.
And another thing I quite liked where I read what you say this, that you mentioned many business owners get caught up in complicated strategies that actually don't deliver
Mhm.
what they need them to do. So what are some of the most common mistakes that you see businesses making in their marketing?
Yeah, so lots of business owners and like I can like think about if a friend of mine like who like reached me recently about a couple of weeks ago, and he was mentioning that he has a really great product on his hand and he's trying to sell it, and he's been like creating the advert and boosting it on his own like business profile on Facebook. And he was complaining why he's not receiving any kind of like selling through the advert he's doing. So he was complaining, I'm spending money and I'm not like selling anything. And it's because like boosting an advert is not a strategy. So you need to have a team and experts who optimize your ad on daily basis, read your data, implement them to the new ad strategy. Perhaps you need to create with different kind of ad variation, content creation, A/B testing, and so on. So somehow you start to see what is working, what is not working, and it needs to be continued at least for a few months. It's not like I'm gonna run an ad for a few days and I'm gonna have selling. It just doesn't work that way. Yeah.
Is this where you sometimes hear people say that they get good engagement with their content, but people aren't actually taking the action they want to book a call or buy or click buy the product. So and there's that frustration sometimes. Well, they're getting engagement, but they're not actually doing what I need them to get in the pipeline and take action to do the sales. There's a difference, I guess, between engagement and actually becoming a
Yes. Well,
lead or a client.
yeah, yes, as like we were discussing it earlier, like it really depends on the
Sure.
niche you're active in and who are your target audience. And for instance, like if you are doing a business to business concept, uh, probably you're not gonna be looking on Facebook or Instagram, yeah, to find your clients. Yeah.
Sure.
So since like Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, it's quite like I would say D2C, yeah.
Right.
Uh,
Okay.
so it really depends like what is your plan and who you're planning to hit and how you are trying to get to see your product or your service. So you need to come with a clear strategy and understanding which platform can be like serving your purpose. And then you can make a steps after you have all of this consideration into place.
So it's really sort of goes back to having the right strategy in place at the beginning so that for the first steps you're following the right process. And following on from that
Yes, yes. Mhm.
is something that I think you've talked before about identifying the ideal client profile. And I guess as part of that initial research process. So can you just sort of walk us briefly through what that process looks like and why it's so important to do that?
Yeah. Well, a couple of years ago, when we started to look into who's our basically ideal client, and we got to the point of okay, it's the client with having a good business, solid business, and a good cash flow, so they can basically afford marketing service. So as you know, marketing service is not cheap. So, but again, it really goes back which part of the journey you are and where are you at the moment and where you're heading. So, for instance, like if you're reaching directors of the company or you are owner of the company, founder of the company, and they've been into business for about 15 years, 20 years, reaching them and offering them to basically create, I don't know, Facebook advert or Google adverts or somehow doing SEO for them. It's a little bit nonsense since they've been into the business for about 20 years, 15 years, and they know from top to the bottom.
Right.
So it's really important to reach the people who are in the perhaps in the beginning of their journey and they haven't been really uh, figured out which funnels or pipelines is working for them at the best. Yeah. So it's really important to understand like uh, what kind of business and the size of the business we need to contact and offer them.
Right. I got you. Yeah. Um, where do you with a strategy, marketing strategy, there's the work in the creating adverts or sharing the content, and there's often the follow-up process. And you've often emphasized that follow-up with warm leads. I just want to share what a simple but effective outreach technique the business can start using to have that effective follow-up process.
Following up process for the business. That's your question, right?
Yeah,
Follow. Well, it's really again depends on business to business, but um, for instance, like uh, it can be done through like a text message or through the email or DM on the platform and
sure.
somehow like a phone call. It really depends where exactly we are with our following up process. Yeah.
Okay. And so, next question is going back to you've mentioned the word data a few times, and how
Mhm.
important is data analysis in optimizing your campaigns and really understand those metrics? There's a lot of data available, but I don't think a lot of businesses really look at that data, understand it, pay attention to it. How important do you think it is to look at the data and analyze it to optimize
Yeah.
campaigns?
It's extremely important because you can optimize your adverts based on those data. Yeah.
Right,
So all of the click to all the clicks we get on the adverts and all the impression it comes through the adverts and which content it gives us a better impression and more clicks and which content is delivering us sales. Yeah, the all needs to be like tracked and
right.
optimized, and obviously focusing your budget on the one that is delivering sales.
And
And
that's
if
good
you
'cause-
are not really reading your data and what's really happening within your adverts, so you cannot like expect much happening in return, you know.
and related to that, we hear the expression A/B testing, but testing different versions of the ads, is that something that we should do as standard to see what's the most effective? Is that part of the process? Is it something you do? Do you test different versions of ads?
Are you talking about conversion ads?
Yeah, that's what. Yes, for example, yes.
Yeah. Uh, Back in a time, about 4 years, 5 years ago, conversion tracking, it was really, really useful. And so by conversion tracking, we can think about when you start to create adverts and you are having plenty of like people landing on your website,
Sure,
not all of them are your customers or they're gonna be
sure, of
customer.
course.
They are the people who are interested in your content and perhaps in your service. Uh, and by having a pixel installed on your website, you can track which one of them they turn to be a clients and which one of
Right,
them haven't yet. Yeah. So for the ones they haven't bought your service or your product, yeah, then you can create a conversion ad which is gonna be only targeting those people on Facebook, or even you can email them, chasing
right.
them by
Okay,
email because they could be your potential customers and they
sure.
can potentially turn to your customer. That can be extremely powerful because those are the people who already showed interest into your content and to your service. Yeah.
And following on from this, so for a business, starting off, and perhaps it's starting with paid ads or social campaign, but they're quite wary. Might have a small budget, start off with. Where
Mhm.
would they should they and obviously they're quite wary of spending money on a campaign, not getting that return. Where should they begin to avoid wasting money? How if without that, I mean, if it,
Mhm.
obviously if you pay, you use a work of an agency who have that expertise. But if you're that's a small business starting off doing a paid ads
Mhm.
campaign,
Understand. So it really depends how much is the budget to spend on the marketing,
sure,
and it really depends on the niche you're performing and who are your audience. For instance, if you are planning to hit your audience on platforms such as Facebook or Instagram or even on Google, uh, you need to spend at least like £10, minimum £10 to £15 per day
right,
uh, for a month, at least for a month. But I mean, the suggested period is for 3 months. So if you're having like at least 300 to 350 per month to just pay the platform.
sure.
And on top of that, you need to pay the experts and the agency to like track your data and optimize your campaign. if you can afford to pay 700 to 800 pound minimum,
Sure.
yes. So there might be a chance to get some return from what the money you're spending on your advert. But if you don't have that place, you can come up with a different kind of strategy, such as um, email campaigns, yeah, which has
Right.
a much lower cost, yeah,
Sure.
or direct outreach on the platforms.
Sure.
Or perhaps on some occasions you need to have a right SEO strategy, which is
Sure.
quite time consuming. Yeah.
So I guess it's adopting the strategy that fits your aims and your goals, but also, yeah, effectively your budget. And the next question is about
Mm.
trends and shifts within the business world. And AI is a growing sort of phenomenon that's becoming used more and more within a lot of different industries, particularly in obviously marketing. So I just want to get your thoughts on this and how you think AI and automation is changing or will change the way businesses attract clients. Yeah, do you use it? What are your thoughts on AI as and
Understand.
automation as marketing
Yeah.
tools?
Yeah. So I'm personally a big fan of manual, yeah, to do things in a manual way rather than
Sure,
automation, because based on my experience, people, they like to have a genuine connection, and having a human connection when you are reaching them, especially in terms of business to business. So they need to feel they're talking to a human being, not to an AI.
is that
But
something? So just so don't jump in there, but is that something that then you as a in your business or you personally, that's something you add as value? That we're humans. We're not AI. Everything we do is you speak to a human. We add our own personal. Is that something
you know,
that you?
I find it quite wrong approach if you're coming with an automated message and
Sure,
send it to business owners or to director of the companies. Yes, and respect them to expect them to respect your approach and get back to
sure,
you. Probably they
yeah.
wouldn't like it, and probably they would not get back to you. So it really depends, like how you are using the AI. And of course, it has lots of benefit to use AI, but AI is artificial intelligence and it has no instinct, but it definitely can bring lots of comfort to your service or to your product as content creation and on and on. There is so many use into it. But I think the fruitful strategy is like how we as human being interacting with AI, and that can be in fruitful interaction, and how experts can, in different kind of niche, can adopt their service or product with AI. I think that's the key nowadays. Yeah.
But I mean, I think AI is clearly it's here to stay. It's a tool. It's going to develop and evolve. But so I mean, some people obviously see it as a bit of a threat. But it sounds like from you, that for the service you do and your offer and the way you work, you don't, it's not you don't see it as a threat. It's just it's a tool that it has a use, but it's not something that threatens what you do
It's
because
not like you can, it's not something you can rely on it completely.
sure,
Like the people who are pitching AI, and they're always talking about human error. Yeah.
sure,
That they're like talking about AI, like AI doesn't make a mistake, but AI make a mistake as well. So
sure,
you need to consider, we as humans, we make mistake, AI make mistake, but the combination of expert as a human being with AI, uh, and how we basically get things done
sure,
within this frame, it
sure,
that can be useful. Yeah. So there is lots of hype around like human error and
Sure,
but what about AI error,
true.
because there is plenty of AI error and they're not speaking about that. Yeah. So we still are depending on each other. Yeah, AI and human being. Yes.
It's interesting. I've noticed that a lot of most of the social media channels, have a sort of Facebook, I think, and YouTube. They require or ask you to say if you've used AI in producing the content or the video. Um, so so it's obviously so people are aware, that where it's human or this I can see clearly and distinctly this is a human produced content or it's AI. So that distinction, I think, is quite important. The channel's picking up importance doing that. My
Yes.
next question is if you could give one piece of advice or if you want to give more than one, a couple of pieces of advice to an entrepreneur who feels overwhelmed by their marketing. Perhaps they feel they've got to do everything, and there's so many things they should be doing. I think that common thing we feel entrepreneurs feel overwhelmed. That what one piece or advice would you give, or for them how would they get started? How would they get out of overwhelm?
I understand. Well, I guess this is a quite like a wide subject, but
Sure,
when it comes to the fund for marketing, you need to have a strategy and you need to study your marketing funnels and recognizing the platform before you're going to invest on them. So you can protect your funds before you start to lose them. And also, it's really important to understand what is right now demand in the market, what kind of service is needed, what kind of product is needed. Yeah, like instead of like having a service and product and then go to the market and then aim to push that market or service to the market, which perhaps going to be extremely competitive because there's
sure.
already lots of people active on that. The best way would be other way around, finding the gap and the pain points in the market in different kind of niche of service. But perhaps you think you can reach them, and if you could get to the point of like, okay, I find out the gap and the pain point in this business, and this is how I'm gonna fix it. And perhaps you have the expertise and you have the team to do that. I think that's the best way to approach it. Instead of like counting on your expertise or your friend's expertise and then trying to go and push your product or service to the market. I think the best way would be exploring the demand and what is really missing, and then finding the right people, putting them together, and then try to step in. And obviously, all of these things, it's quite time consuming. It at least give it to 6 months to a year of research and like experimenting, gathering information, data, and just putting them all together. So somehow it can give you a clear form of approach. Yeah.
And would you say that it's about being really targeted and specific? So yeah, have a really clear, specific niche, not trying to go for everyone, trying to be really specific over which platforms work for you, not trying to be all platforms. The more sort of targeted and specific you can be with your strategy, it's always better than try get into that thing where you're trying to get reach everyone, you're trying to try every platform. Does it go down to being targeted? Is that what sort of one of the more targeted you can be in everything you do?
Yeah, yes, yes, of course. Like
Oh,
the more narrow is your target audience and the more specific you are, and the better result you can get. But it's in marketing, it's that's the most complicated thing. So
sure.
to reach that specific target audience you're looking for,
Okay.
and who are they and how you can find them. And is it like which platforms we can find them, and like how you can find their email address,
Sure.
and which kind of tools you need to use to find them, and on and on. Yes.
And what's been your biggest lesson that you personally, as a business owner and marketer so far, what's been your biggest lesson that you learned?
Um, well, if you check my website, if you go to my
Sure.
website, there is a three main package of what I offer to businesses. Uh, but what I learned, it's not everyone coming to my service, they need that package. So all your services and packages, they need to be tailored based on their
Sure.
needs. So
Sure.
uh, I've at least you need to do a survey with them, having a consultation session, and after you're understanding what is really missing, what is really working, and putting all of this information together as a one phase, and then you can come up with a strategy of like, okay, these guys need SEO? Do these guys need email marketing? And then coming up with the right proposal to offer your clients or your
Okay.
potential clients. Never throw your marketing packages to them because it's no use for them. First, you need to understand their pain point, what is missing for them, and what's working for them, and then offer them, yes, what is can work for them.
So this question might be sort of overlapping with that last one, but if you could sum up your marketing philosophy in one
Mhm.
sentence, what would it be? I mean, sort of a broad, yeah,
Marketing, yeah, I would say like it's a very brief way of putting it on marketing. It's basically for me stands for gap or
right,
pain point.
okay,
And
right.
yeah, so if you recognize that and you know how to fill it in, I think yes, like you got it all, yes.
Uh, so come towards the end of the interview, but I just wanted to ask you the last couple of questions. One is just about mindset. With business, we have to have the right sort of skill set, the skills to be able to do our marketing effectively. Perhaps you have to have, the tool set, the right tools and platforms, and also mindset. And I just want to, personally, how do you keep yourself motivated and focused, avoid the overwhelm? How do you sort of, as a business owner, what sort of techniques do you use to keep a healthy, focused mindset for your business?
Oh, I see. Um, well, I would say like doing things like step by step and one step at a time. Um, is the best way of approaching
Sure.
because when you're having a really wide view and from everything you need to do, like it gets quite overwhelming. So having a discipline of getting doing things day by day and like hour to hour is the best approach. Otherwise, if you are looking a little bit like further down the road, it gets a little bit foggy and blurry and it can be overwhelming. Yes.
Of course. No, definitely. Uh, so thank you, Cash. There's so much great content you've been sharing with us around, your tips and suggestions for improving your marketing. Some of the points I've taken away are to have that effective, clear strategy from the beginning. Do your research, be really clear about what your niche is, who your target market is. Um, Choose the right platforms, do your research, use data to help you know that where things are working, where to focus your direction on. Find the gap in where the need is, and where to find those right clients and avoid that overwhelm. Um,
Yes, indeed.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Cash, for your time and for sharing all your experience and all your knowledge with us. to round it up, Cass, if people want to reach out to you, do you want to share your website and any other way people can get in touch?
Yeah, I think the best way of approaching me is LinkedIn. It's easy to find me there. Yeah.
And your website, do you want to just share that? It's
Of course, my website is online. It's webwisemarketingagency.com. Like everyone can find me there as well. Yeah. But if you're
fantastic.
looking for some more personal connection, the best would be like finding me through LinkedIn. Yes.
So if you want to contact Cash and have a chat with him about any of the points he's brought up or how he can help you with your marketing, Web Wize Marketing, or LinkedIn, reach out to him and connect with LinkedIn. Thanks, Cash, for your time and for having that chat with me this morning.